looking ahead to your first long road trip of the year. And Judd has already packed his bags. You're already packed?
No, are you kidding me?
Oh, my
Somebody
goodness.
asked that the other day. No, I haven't packed yet.
Well, I mean, somebody asked that the other day. I'm asking you now. It was a lot closer.
No, I haven't packed yet. I did do laundry yesterday, which is a good thing.
All right, so as soon as Judd wraps up the Hockey Hub podcast, he's got to go home and pack. And he's got to pack for 3 cities, some cold weather cities to start. You got Colorado. You're going to be in Denver to kick things off, which is a national TV game against the Avalanche. And then on Saturday, you have a matchup against the Utah Hockey Club. Hockey in Utah at the NHL level. It's been there for years, but now for the first time, an NHL team is there. And then you wrap things up and, just a dull city, Nashville. So there's not a lot going on there. So, I mean, good luck finding something to do. But
a lot of people, by the way, are bummed. They were hoping, and I'm talking about a lot of Bruins fans that I've talked to recently, they were hoping that maybe that trip would take place a little bit later in the season so they have something to look forward to. But for the Bruins, it's their first extended road trip of the year.
Yeah, it was the siblings trip a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And the Bruins went there later in the year. But, let's talk about the road trip. And, again, I think I mentioned it earlier. I mean, this is a great opportunity for the team to get away. They got some downtime in between games, whether it's practice or off days. And it's always a time, Judd, for a team to come together as a group, get away from everything, go out to dinner, get to know each other because you got some new faces on this team. And that's what this is all about.
The teams that are able to bond, and I know you hear about it all the time, but the teams that get along, really spend and enjoy spending time together, those are the teams that typically go the farthest. Yes, you have to have a lot of talent, and there are a lot of ingredients in that, but if you're able to develop that type of chemistry in your room, that usually is the harbinger of a team that has not only a playoff run in mind, but a deep playoff run in mind. So I think that'll be a good thing for the Bruins. It'll start in Denver. That is not an easy place to play against an Avalanche team that has gotten off to a pretty sluggish start. They have a ton of goals. And last year, Alexander Georgiev had to hold down the fort because that Avalanche team allowed a ton of chances against. Now, they started to get that a little bit under control, but the Bruins are going to have to contend with two of the big-time stars in the league, Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen. The one guy that they will avoid is Valeri Nichushkin, who is still an NHL player assistant, but that guy is a force. But a very difficult start to the trip for the Bruins as they play at altitude against the Avs.
Yep. So that's how they start things out against an Avs team that's just loaded with talent, even with all of their injuries and other things happening there. And then you go to Utah, Judd, and the hockey in Utah. Of course, the team formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes, now the Utah Hockey Club, led by Clayton Keller. Dylan Guenther has had an outstanding start. He just was named first star of the week as Utah got off to a 3-0 start. They lost to the Devils in a matinee, and so their first loss of the year. But hockey in Utah, from the outside looking in and watching it looks like it's a lot of fun so far for them.
I think it'll be terrific. And this was a team, as you mentioned. So there's been hockey there for a while, going all the way back to the Salt Lake Golden Eagles, and then for the team that Andy Brickley and Bob Beers played for in the Utah Grizzlies. They still have a team there that I believe is in the East Coast Hockey League.
Correct.
So hockey has been in and around the Salt Lake area for a while, but I love the response. Even before they played the first game, I don't know if you had a chance to watch the introductory, celebration when the transfer was made and the team came from Arizona to Utah, and it was a full house in the arena as they introduced all the players. And this is a team that Billy Armstrong, the general manager, so basically the entire hockey operations group, along with the players and the coaching staff, made the transfer from the desert to Salt Lake City. And this is a group that Billy Armstrong has been working a while to put together. A lot of young talent. You cited a couple of names: Clayton Keller, Dylan Guenther, beyond that, there's another kid in Logan Cooley who's got 5 assists in his first 4 games. Lawson Krause, big power forward. But he also added a little bit of veteran depth, especially on the back end. He made a big, surprising trade, picking up Mikhail Sergachev. He adds in a guy like Ian Cole, who's won a couple of Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And he's got a really good young goaltender, Connor Ingram, who's been a great story here early in the season. This team has a lot of youth, a lot of talent, a lot of skill, and they've built up a ton of assets that are in their system that I think Billy Armstrong is going to parlay into more things that are going to help his National Hockey League team. But that is going to be a fabulous game and a fabulous setting for the second game of the Bruins road trip. And the first one that we have here on NESN.
Yeah, the first one on NESN. That's right, because the national TV game in Colorado and the first game on NESN in Utah. So we're making history this week. And when you were a young broadcaster, Judd, calling games for the Chicago Wolves in the I, you had an opportunity to go to Utah. Do you have any memories that you can share?
Just a few. No, that was it. That was a great stop on the tour. I think I've told this story in the past that I met Brick and I met Beersy when those two guys were still playing for the Utah Grizzlies, and it was a fabulous place to stop and get a chance to go to. I remember there were plenty of times where if you'd get in at the right time, you got in early enough, you could do a little night skiing. I remember going up to Brighton with a bunch of players when I was in the minors and doing some night skiing, heading to a great place. It's sort of nestled between Alta and Snowbird to grab a few burgers and some cocktails before getting ready for the game. No, it's a great place, and I was so excited to see that they were added into the mix here in the National Hockey League.
So you pack your ski boots and your snow pants. What do you pack and what do you rent?
Not for this trip.
Yeah.
Going back then.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Did I bring my skis?
Yeah, right. You're flying yourself there.
I might have. Back then, we travel a little bit differently. Trust me.
Yeah.
In the Crabapple, my friend, there is no charter.
Yeah.
So,
No.
So I could bring my gear, and there's actually a story I could probably tell. So when I went out there, I think there were a couple of guys. This was probably when the leagues merged. So the IHL and the American Hockey League merged,
Yep.
or the American Hockey League absorbed. I want to say it's 6 teams from the I, and so we went in to play Utah because they were part of the process. They stayed in the league. This was 2001, 2002, and there were a couple guys on the team that came up to me on the plane, and they asked, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" And I said, "I'm going skiing." They said, "We want to go." I'm like, okay, just don't tell the GM. And our goalie came with. So I was terrified that, and we're doing night skiing, which is already a little sketchy.
Man.
So we did some night skiing up at Brighton, and it was a big group of players, which including the team's number one goaltender. And all I could think about was, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. But before to try and schedule this, I just said, I'm renting a car. I'll meet you in the back of the hotel. Just hop in and we'll drive up to Brighton. And that's exactly what we did. And somehow we did not get discovered. The number one goaltender did not get hurt. I don't remember if we won or lost the game afterward, but it didn't matter. We had a blast playing some night skiing.
No, that's awesome. Skiing. I'm glad that devastating injury wasn't on your watch, Judge, because that might have told a different story of your career.
I was terrified. Are you kidding? I would have been left there. I would have been walking home.
Hey, quickly before we let you go, Utah Hockey Club. Hey, what's the nickname? What's the team name going to be?
I think it's going to be Yeti.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the Yeti. It seems like that's kind of snuck out. So it sounds like that's what's going to be. And I understand that there are people who they want the franchise to get named, but I think I also understand that because the transfer happened so quickly during the summer and the team didn't have a chance to put everything together, give them an opportunity to go through an entire season, go through the proper planning, and then make the name change, put the logo and the jersey together, and they'll start with a nickname beginning next year.
Yeah, that's what the PWHL did, right? They had a year with just the city names and the Boston Fleet now. So you don't like the Utah Salt Shakers?
No, I didn't know if that was in there.
No, it's not. I just came up with it off the top of my head. So I just I wanted to test the waters before I made an official submission. So.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work with the focus groups. The other thing is the last team on that trip, that's the Nashville Predators, who've gotten off to a slow start.
Loaded up in the offseason.
I mean, some really big signings. Barry Trotz, the general manager there, adding guys like Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault, and I think lost in the mix is a guy like Brady Shea, who's a really good defenseman, both with Carolina and the New York Rangers. But that team is certainly fortified, and that will be a great game to end the trip.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing it and looking forward to hearing your call once again. Hey, great job so far. That's the other thing. I should give you a shout out. 4 games in the books, 3 on Nesson. Awesome job so far. You and Brick, it's like you've been doing it for years together.
Oh, very kind. That's all Brick and everybody in the truck.
All right, Judd Sirott joining us on the Hockey Hub podcast. We will see you next week. Have a safe trip, bud. Appreciate it.
Thank you.